Well, JJ, it's episode 29 of a podcast we have come to call We Were Gamers.
The first podcast named We Were Gamers on the internet.
That involves both of us.
Yeah, I don't actually even know if that's true.
I think it's not true. I think we did some research.
Starting on a good note.
Yeah. I think we did some research in the previous, production time on this show where we were like,
the pre-production phase.
Yeah. And they had made...
I do remember some of this. Yeah, there was a Twitter account that was similar to ours but different and hadn't been updated in 5 years or something.
Yeah, and I think that we traced it back eventually to a podcast that was of a similar but not the same name as their Twitter account, and they had made 2 episodes or something.
Yeah, and then they had a YouTube channel, and it went silent after like 3 episodes or something, so just assume.
Pretty safe.
The worst.
I haven't gotten a letter from anybody, so...
They were all killed in a horrible, tragic accident.
Oh, why you gotta take it there, man?
I've been playing a game that lets me think about tragic accidents in that way.
Oh, boy. We'll get to that in a minute, because I've seen you on Steam quite a bit on that game.
Yeah, man. Whew. All right, we'll talk. We'll blaze through all this video game stuff, Andrew, because we want to talk about the real most important thing that happened this week, and it's not any of this video game stuff.
No, it's media related. It's one of those things that I think we'll end up doing a special episode on, too.
Someday, yeah, for sure.
Have to.
Yes.
Hey, how did the you usually listen when I post the podcast on Monday or on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. How did you like my Audacity cast?
Yeah, it seemed the same, which I guess is good praise, right? I didn't notice noticeable differences in the minute and a half of the beginning that I listened to.
It took me a little bit of time to get a handle on Audacity, especially the editor features, and a lot of it is very, very different than the previous more drag and drop style programs. This is very linear and constricting.
Let's point out to the people, Andrew changed laptops, as we talked about last week.
Correct.
And with that, the version of... Were you using GarageBand before?
No, I was using an old version of Adobe... What is it called? Audition. Okay.
Stopped working, and so now he moved over to the tool that I have been using for all of these recordings to record myself locally, which is a free tool on the internet called Audacity, which works okay.
Yeah, it works well enough that until somebody decides to sponsor this podcast, Adobe, we won't be using Audition.
Yeah,
but
I have heard some things on the internet that GarageBand is a tool that gives a lot more of those drag and drop kind of editing style. But I know nothing about that software. But yeah, Audacity is pretty good. It definitely is very powerful if you are willing to put in some time to make it do stuff.
It certainly took me the first time around using it. Obviously, it was basically like relearning to edit all over again. Like, I know all the things I want to do. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know how to do them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like deleting a portion of a clip.
Yeah, you had to, you got to click the selection tool first. And then once you have that, you can drag it over an area. And then there's, which button? Well, I can cut, but that's not really what I want. I really just want to silence that part, right?
Right.
So then you have to there's a tool that silences a selection. You have to hit that.
Right.
It's like a very, it's not intuitive at all. It can do the things you want. You just have to figure out what it wants.
Yeah.
In that, how it wants you to tell it what to do.
Exactly. It's a whole new language. So between that and trying to get it to export at a quality that sounded the same as the previous quality that I was getting from Adobe's tools, which are obviously, more developed probably because of the money they have.
Undoubtedly.
Took some time. So I'm glad it turned out okay. And it's not, like you said, it's not an unpowerful program, but if they charged $10, I would pay it. If $10 went to somebody who designed an interface for it.
I was just going to say like all tools, it seemed so as a person who does software for a living, this looks like a piece of software that I wrote. And not in that I would be able to do any of the things that this software does. I probably can't. But the UI looks like a UI that was made by a programmer and not a designer.
Right. Somebody that wanted to build a tool for themselves and then said, well, I'll just give it to other people because I built it for me. So
in that case, it is a powerful tool that can do a lot of things, but it is not an intuitive tool, so that really only the people who wrote it or have contributed to it, in a case of an open source thing like this, really know what it can do. And then everyone else has to read wikis and stuff.
It's definitely my first real foray into a powerful open source tool. So,
yeah,
I've dealt with open source programs before. I use Calibre, which is an open source program for ebook management and other things. And you can really make those more complicated because everyone can, because it's open source, make plugins.
Andrew, do you mean Calibre?
Calibre? Is it? Did they say Calibre? It's not Calibre?
I think it's spelled Calibre, as in like library, libre, but I don't know why the CA in front of it. I don't think it's Calibre. I could be wrong.
How do you...
Calibre, not ER.
You're probably right. Oh, man. I'm editing this part out because I sound stupid.
All right, cool. It's good that... It's actually better if you edit this part out anyway, because I could be wrong, and it just means I've been dyslexic the whole time, and it's bad.
I'm not going to look. I'm not going to do it.
No, it's not worth it.
I don't want to know. Hey, man, what have you been up to other than video games since I just bummed everyone out with my... Not bummed everyone out, but I got just bored people probably with my production minute.
Oh, I don't know. It's an interesting behind-the-scenes look into the We Were Gamers production minute.
Yeah.
I've been playing some Hitman. I know we talked about that a little bit at the top there. I baked a pie right before we started this. There's an annual upcoming feast that is happening. It may be my favorite holiday of the year, actually.
The holiday where you just eat?
Yeah, the eating holiday. It's the best part of usually most years. I'm apprehensive about how it will go this year. But it'll probably be fine, because the best thing to do is just, if people start talking about stuff you don't want to hear about, eat more food, and then you'll fall asleep and not have to listen to them.
Are you implying that you have a political dynamic that may not gel well in the room?
No, my family gets along. Although there may be political dynamics in the room, I'm pretty confident that most of the family will be able to keep a lid on it to an acceptable degree.
Oh boy. Well, we'll hear after the what should we call it? Eat Fest? I like Eat Fest.
Eat Fest 2016?
Yeah.
But anyway, right before we started recording this, I baked a pie. As is tradition, I make the pumpkin pies for this gathering. I don't know when this tradition started, but many years ago. And since then, every year I make pumpkin pies for this thing. So I made one.
You made it?
I made it. And I've got more to make tomorrow night too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I want to hear more about Hitman because you've been on it for quite a bit, and I, of course, like many other things, do own it and am quite curious.
So wait, do you actually?
I mean, I think I do.
So this is the new one, right?
This is the newest one?
Yes.
I thought you said that you had gotten the oldest one because it was on major sale.
No, the new one was on a sale. That's why I was surprised. They put the full season on a sale of like half off or something.
Oh.
It may be on sale right now. I'm not going to look, but it could be.
I own some older Hitman games.
So the older Hitman games have been on sale before and for a number of years, but this is the first time this new one has been on sale.
Interesting. Okay. So give people a rundown on Hitman, what it is. Obviously, you probably know what a Hitman is, but what's the story of Hitman?
So this game the tagline is "Enter a world of assassination," Andrew, which I think is an amazing tagline because every time it just conjures the image in my head. Whenever you hear like "world of assassination," don't you think about that song in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory about the imagination, the world of imagination?
Oh, yeah. I never even put those two together, but now I'm not going to unhear it.
Come with me, and we'll see. In a world of pure assassination. It's so good now. I can't. Someone online had a remix that I heard, and now I can never unhear it. It's really, really silly.
We'll link that in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I'll find that and send it out there. But so Hitman, this new one, it's just called Hitman. Is a game where you play as this Hitman, Agent 47, who has this mysterious past that isn't really explained at all. Which is fine, because the story doesn't really matter in this game, Andrew. There is a story, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
I'm just curious how, after 5 games or whatever many Hitman games there have been, how Agent 47 still has no backstory.
Oh, his backstory has been explained in those other games, I'm pretty sure. I haven't played all of them. But this seems to be a reboot.
Oh, they're like starting over.
It seems to be.
Interesting.
The beginning of the game, you arrive at the facility, which belongs to the ICA, which, as far as I know, is never denoted what ICA is. It's just like some kind of association of killing people.
International Community of Assassins?
Could be. I don't know. They don't really tell you, so maybe that's plausible. Sure. And your handler meets you, and then you go through some training operations to see if you're fit for duty or whatever, and then they send you out there to go do some hits,
do some duty,
do some contracts. Yeah, and so this game is about, and like I said, like I barely know what the story is, because the story is super inconsequential. Like, yes, there's a story and there's these main missions and stuff, but really what it's about is these levels. And this game did come out episodically, so I did, as a person who jumped in at the end and just bought it once all the episodes were out already. Although I guess they have said this is now Season 1, and Season 2 is going to add on from here with new stuff. But the episodes are really, it's a map, right? Basically, each episode is a map. And the first one, for instance, takes place in Paris at a fashion show in this fancy French chateau on the river. And it's very like James Bond, kind of, right?
Is there any reference to Zoolander in any of that?
Oh, probably. I don't know. I haven't done every single thing in these maps, but I'm certain there is. Let me just give you a story here to sort of explain what you can do in this game and how ridiculous it gets. So, Hitman, you start as this guy, Agent 47, who's bald and has a barcode tattooed on the back of his head, which is not at all weird. Of course, no one notices this. Never makes mention of it. Although, actually, sometimes you hear the guards on the radio, a bald man with a weird tribal tattoo on his head just did this. Like,
no one's
really?
Seen a barcode in that universe.
No one's ever seen a barcode here? They call it a tribal tattoo? That's weird.
Maybe they're all on QR codes, so they don't know.
It could be. That would explain a lot, actually. So, you walk into this fashion show dressed in a tuxedo, and you carry with you whatever equipment you've chosen to use at the beginning. So you kind of get like a little planning phase right before the mission starts of like, okay, I want to carry these coins with me, which I can use to throw and distract people. I want to carry the fiber wire so that when, I got to choke people out, I can, garrote them or garrote? How do you say that word?
Garrote.
Garrote? Yeah. So you can garrote them so you can kill them and drag them around.
Calibre.
Calibre. And then, I'll take my silenced pistol because I'm James Bond. And then I'm going to go in. You come dressed in a tuxedo. And then, you start the mission. So then I immediately move from... So this was my favorite run of this level so far. I start at the front. I run immediately to the back of the chateau where there's a big helicopter landing area and a fashion model is getting out. A famous man who goes by the name of Helmut Kruger. He's dressed like a crazy fashion person, and a person's taking pictures of him. I run around a corner and wait for a few minutes, and he finishes taking pictures with the photographer and walks over and gets on his cell phone. While he's on his cell phone, I garrote him and take his clothes and throw him into the river. So he's dead.
Yeah, he's a goner, huh?
Yeah, he's gone. I dress up in his clothes and go walk, take his cell phone, and call back the number he was calling, and talk with the lady on the other end who apparently is running a black market auction upstairs in the chateau, which using the fashion show for cover. Very secret.
Who would have thought?
Yes, former fashion model, and apparently this guy was working for her. So there you go. Found it all out. I call her back, ask her where the meeting was supposed to be. She tells me and says, "But you have to make sure you do the show first, so that the cover is established." Sure thing, lady. So I go run over to the inside of the chateau where the backstage area, which this guy can get into because they all think I'm him. I mean, I'm wearing his clothes. Who else could I be? And I walk into the chair. I sit down and I tell the guy, "Hey, make me up, make me look good." The guy goes, "Okay." Puts a bunch of face paint on me and stuff so that I look exactly like the guy that I just threw in the river. I go walk over to the stage. The guy goes, "Oh, you're on." You walk down the stage, do the catwalk, down in front, strut and style like you're supposed to do.
You got to do your blue steel.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he does. 47 makes a good pose. You turn around, walk back. After I finish, she calls my cell phone and says, "Oh, that was great. Come upstairs and meet with me." So go upstairs. There's a bunch of bodyguards with hella guns, but obviously I'm the guy they're looking for, so why bother to search me or anything? And I go upstairs. I meet with her. She says, "Oh, well, this is a private meeting, everybody. You can leave me and him alone. We're old friends." Yes, we are. You're right, lady. She closes the doors, sits me down, and starts telling me about the hit she wants me to do for her. I say, "Great." She gives me this lethal poison vial and says, "Oh, so here's the people. Here's what I want you to do." I say, "Great, let's toast." I go over and give her a glass of champagne, into which I put the poison that she just gave me, hand the glass to her, walk out of the room. She drinks the poison, dies. Everything is great.
Man.
What a game.
What a game.
It's really, really funny. And so, all this stuff...
Can you accomplish these things? Is that the only way you could have accomplished that? Or could you have
there's
done it a whole bunch of
10,000 different things you could do.
Wow.
It's a big clockwork kind of simulation, right? All the NPCs, all the various people in these levels, and there's 70 people standing around outside in the fashion area. There's tons of people over more in the bar. There's all kinds of waiters and guards, and she's not the only target in this mission. There's another guy who's actually running the fashion show you have to kill also. And all these people all have patterns, and they do certain things in response to certain things, and so the only reason I was able to accomplish all this is because I knew that guy was going to go to the photo shoot and go stand over there by himself alone where no one's looking at him to make this phone call, right? So I had to play the mission, get killed a couple times, figure out what was going on, and find out where he was going to be so that I could stalk him and take his stuff without anyone seeing me. And it's all about manipulating the system in very specific ways so that you can get it to do exactly what you want. And it's really, really fun to mess around with it. And they have this great system called the opportunities that it's hey, here are some cool things that we know you can do in this area. And we'll just sort of lead you around with little markers on your map to telling you what to do if you want to see all these cool ways that you can kill them. And so this one where you impersonate the model was one of these opportunities. It just puts a little area that you can see on your map all the time. It's just hey, get Helmut Kruger's disguise. So I just follow it over there, and there's a little icon on top of him that says, "Hey, knock this guy out and get his disguise." Okay. So I just wait around and follow him around until I find a place where he's alone and I can get his disguise. Okay, well now I got that. Now what? Now go upstairs and get dressed up like him. And then, you keep doing the whole thing, and eventually it leads you to the cool stuff. So it's a really good way to see these things that maybe you would never really know to do if you didn't think about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been really, really cool so far.
I like that they're doing it kind of like the Telltale games where it's coming out episodically. Do you think that's a good new model for games like that?
Yeah, so that's the other thing I wanted to talk about with this. So even though I purchased it later, it seems like playing this episodically would actually be really cool because of the way you unlock stuff. You unlock stuff based on your mastery level, which is basically the more you do stuff in this one map, the more mastery you have over this map, right? Oh, you kill someone in an accident. It's oh, it was an accident that this explosion happened. I wasn't there. Who knows? Ooh, whoa, what an accident. Yeah, not an accident, right? But
yeah,
Yeah, or, oh, that guy accidentally died drinking that champagne. Who could have known? It wasn't me. I was on the other side of the map. That kind of stuff. But like the more you can do these different ways, there's all sorts of all of these kinds of challenges and different opportunities and stuff that you can undertake that increase your mastery over this map. And then each time of like, okay, well now that you're at mastery level 3, you can, instead of starting off at the front entrance dressed in your tuxedo, you can start in disguise as a kitchen staff. So you don't have to go, if you want to be a kitchen staff, you don't have to knock anyone out or do anything. You just get to be the kitchen staff. You're just standing around. Or like, oh, well, the next level, maybe you can go undercover as the tech crew there. So you're already backstage. You don't have to mess with any of that stuff. You just have a disguise that lets you go around there. And that kind of stuff. So it's a really cool system. So it really encourages you to play each map multiple times and like learn more about that one map. So then, when there's the 2-month wait between this and the next
I see what you're saying.
map, you have a lot of time to experiment with this one map and see all the cool different things you can do with this.
Rather than just bouncing through the mission one time.
Yeah, I played the Paris level like, once or twice. I was like, oh, this is cool. I went on to the next level and then I was like, oh, this is kind of like, I don't know, whatever. It just feels kind of a lot. It's very different because it was a very different level, but like, okay, well, like, I don't know. This is like, it seems similar, right? But if I had spent a lot of more time playing the Paris level, I would have had all these different unlocks available to me. Like, you unlock this gun. You can just use that gun anywhere, in any of the levels, not just the Paris level. Or, oh, you unlocked a sniper rifle. Well, now in any level, you can take a sniper rifle with you. And, like, that's pretty useful for Hitman.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. And the structure of the levels kind of makes that really cool for an episodic release.
Right on.
Yeah, so I've been pretty happy with that so far.
Well, other than me trying to get through Skyrim, which I totally screwed up this week.
Oh no!
I was supposed to hand off a package in the game, and I was supposed to put things in the package, and I didn't realize it. So I either have to go through this entire mission with no weapons because there are no weapons because I didn't put them in the package, or I have to restart, and the closest save to where I can go back and fix where I handed off the package is like 3 hours of gameplay behind.
Yikes.
I tried console commands, and it didn't fix it, so I'm not quite certain what to do there. So I'm kind of glad we were distracted this week trying out Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, Andrew, how did you enjoy our brief foray into the Heroes of the Storm?
Well, given our commitment,
one of us... We said we were going to do it.
One of us is now complete.
Yeah, I said I was at least going to play 15 games, and I can now confirm that I have played more than 15 games of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, so you got your cool Genji skin.
Yeah.
And I have, I think, 12 games left or so, maybe a little bit more. Based on the fact that we've been doing it against AI and have found that if we did it on easy and just crushed the middle lane, that it's kind of a joke. I don't know if I'm getting a good experience with Heroes of the Storm so much as having a little bit of fun with you and a few other of our friends list, just cakewalking over some PC.
Yeah. We definitely found a fast way to complete all these games. Is it a good way? Are we having fun doing it? I mean, I guess we're having fun. It's pretty silly.
It's fun in the non-accomplishment kind of way.
Yeah.
It's fun in the like, wow, I got 63 kills or something, It's
definitely a low-risk environment in which to try out heroes that we have no idea how to play.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I don't know many of them at all, so...
Yeah, me either. I think I spent gold to unlock that tank.
You must have, because she's not on the rotation, so...
Yeah, that tank is interesting. You can shoot really far. I don't know if it's good, but...
I have some gold. Maybe I should purchase another one. I don't know. I've gotten a decent amount of gold. You know why?
It makes me want to actually finish the 30 games so that I can get the rest of those heroes unlocked and not have to worry about buying them ever again.
Am I getting you to join in the commitment?
I might be willing to play some more games and see how I feel at the end of those.
I'm going for it, man. I'm doing the 30. I said I
Okay.
was going to do it.
All right. Yeah.
You know what
good.
I did
Sticking
notice?
to your guns.
Is that they still queue quests in that game.
Q.
Yeah, so like the second day we were doing this, I logged back in and I had 3 new quests instead of just 1 new one.
Oh, interesting.
Which Hearthstone, I mistakenly thought was still doing, and you proved to me does not do anymore.
Yeah, they said they fixed it, and they said it was a bug.
I don't know about that being a bug as much as them changing their mind.
Yeah, who knows?
I have some thoughts on that, though, which is I think it kind of goes hand in hand with a few other things that are going on right now.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Oh, so in Hearthstone, there is a new expansion pack coming next month.
The Mean Streets of Gadgetzan.
Yeah, and we've been talking a little bit about it over the past couple of weeks. What we haven't talked about is the new brawl they put out last week, JJ.
The Heroic Tavern Brawl.
And this change with the... We'll explain the Heroic Brawl in a second, but this change with the queue. And I think we talked about last week that to pre-order packs for the new expansion, you can only do it online on the Battle.net website, which is a brand new caveat to pre-ordering, which is that you have to pay them directly.
Yeah, in the past, you could pay them directly, but you could also buy it through Google Store or the Amazon Store or
because
iTunes.
It was in the app.
Right.
Now add that into the Heroic Brawl, which is, hey, come drop 1,000 gold to try and do an arena.
Or $9.99.
Yeah, or $10 to try and do a really hard arena run.
And it's not even an arena run. It's pay 1,000 gold to literally play Constructed Ladder with other people who have chosen to pay this money.
To maybe get rewards if you do extremely well.
Correct.
Add all those things up, JJ. You only can pre-order online. You don't get anything special for doing it. They took away the card back. They're doing 1,000 gold buy-in ladder play thing. And they are stopping giving out 3 days worth of gold at a time. Money grab?
I would say that the Brawl for sure feels like a gold sink, right? It's like a term that people that play MMOs have maybe heard of. Our WoW playing friends will know what I'm talking about for sure. But it is definitely a thing that is designed for you to put your money towards it, to give you either very small or not gigantic returns. You get something for that money, but it's really just meant for you to use your money on this thing to like suck it out of the economy. And that the Brawl definitely feels like that to me.
It just overall feels like, maybe it was a bug, but 2.5 years of a bug.
Yeah, who knows with the quest stuff. That feels a lot more like to me that they are trying to get their user engagement numbers up. They want to see people logging in more often, right? They don't want people to log in once every 3 days and then again the next day and then wait 3 days and then the next 2 days and then wait 3 days and then 2 days and then wait 3 days.
As a user of the game, I have now played less because of this. Because if I don't clear the quest, there's no point in me rushing to get back to it. Right? Like if I have a full quest log and I couldn't manage to finish it, like right now I haven't done my quests in 2 days. And
you mean if you don't finish one quest, there's no point in finishing a quest? I don't.
No, there is obviously, like it's incentivized for you to do it. I understand what you're saying is saying that what I'm saying is psychologically it's had the opposite effect on me personally.
Okay.
I don't feel like spending as much time in it because if I don't manage to clear the quest, I'm not going to get much benefit from not clearing, like from waiting a day to clear it, right? Like, does it make sense? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Okay, so no, I don't understand what you're saying, but it sounds like you're saying you don't get benefit from waiting, and that's true, you don't.
Yes, you don't get benefit from waiting. There was
a benefit to wait for some level of a chance that you could get your quests to line up, right? And like work on multiple things at once.
Yeah, now there's no point in doing it, and some of them
Right.
take so long to do now that I don't feel incentivized to try and get them done every single day because it's too much work, and that has caused me to play less.
I see. I think you are overestimating the amount of work it takes to do some of these quests.
I guess so. It just takes time away from the ladder if you really want to focus them down.
Yeah, so it's not good. The thing that I actually will say that I like about the new system is that the quests can be done in casual mode, and they sort of push you to try and do that. If you have it's because the new quests are like, oh, play this many cards from this class. Not necessarily like win. The old quests were all about winning. These ones are just about playing cards of a certain type. And so if you're playing on ladder, maybe you will just eventually complete those quests in the course of your grinding up to whatever rank you want to get to. You'll play 15 secrets or 20 demons or whatever.
Yeah, but you won't do it quickly.
You won't do it quickly. But if you play it in casual, you just make a deck that has like every secret and then as many secret related cards as you can, and you get it done in 3 games just like it was before.
Sure, it's just, I got the 75 Battle Cry one today, and it just to me means that, okay, now I don't get time to ladder because I have to log in and play casual. There's no reward in playing casual in the long run.
The reward in playing casual is getting the 75 gold, and also getting the 10 gold for every 3 wins.
I know, but you're talking about not then putting time into the ladder, and so you're not playing ladder decks.
But,
and you're not.
But Andrew, did you have fun when you were playing the ladder before? I feel like you didn't.
I don't have fun with the ladder right now, that's for sure. But
so then, this seems like it would be a good thing for you because you can play silly decks that are more fun, that you might enjoy more.
I get what you're saying. I was just trying to get a feel for the ladder, although it's not going to matter pretty soon. Did you see those Jade Golem cards that are coming?
Yeah, that's an interesting new mechanic they're talking about.
It's like a live Cthulhu. If you think about it.
Yeah, in like a very interesting way. It starts as a 1/1. The first one you play is a 1/1. The next one is a 2/2, and a 3/3, and a 4/4, and so on. It's very hard to evaluate how good that will be until we see how many of those cards there are for each class.
Oh yeah, I guess if you can only play 6 of them, it's not going to be very good. But
right,
so, Shadow Step, I guess.
Oh, definitely. I'm not worried that some person, some rogue player most likely is going to figure out how to get an 80/80 version of this thing. Or whatever the max
along with their Edwin
is.
Van Cleef.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not worried that that's not going to happen. It'll definitely happen. It's just a question of, what realistically can you do with these kind of things?
I have grown a little bit more excited for the next set. I was kind of burnt out, and I was wondering if I was even going to purchase any cards in the next set, or just spend my gold and not really care anymore about that game. Just because of how lackluster the game feels right now.
No excitement for those sweet new Reno Jackson style cards they've announced?
That's what not exactly. But this Jade Golem thing sounds pretty cool. So maybe there are other cool things still coming.
Oh man, I'm super excited for the Reno Jackson style stuff. As a lover of Reno Jackson.
Yeah.
The decks that are like Reno Jackson intrigue me and sound fun.
Yeah.
The one that makes your priest hero power cost 0 for the rest of the game sounds pretty rad.
Blows my mind.
And that has been confirmed to continue if you use stuff like Shadow Form or Justicar, and it still will cost 0.
Insane.
Sounds cool.
We'll see.
But you have to play a Reno deck, so
That's true. We'll see if it's insane. It may not be.
It might not be. It sounds insane. I'm excited to try it.
Do you want to round out the Blizz news?
Let's round it out.
Overwatch ends this week, so if you haven't done your placement matches, it's time
uninstall the game. It's over.
What?
It's done. Wait, is that not what you meant? The game doesn't end?
Oh, no, the game doesn't end.
Oh, okay. That's good.
The season 2 ends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't done that. I'm not going to do that.
I'm a fan of portraits. I think I'll still try it. It's only 10 games.
It's not that many.
No. It's like a night.
10 games of Overwatch in one night, easy. Yep.
No, maybe 2 nights.
Whatever. Maybe we should move on to the most important thing that happened this weekend.
Yeah. When did you experience this?
I watched it Thursday night, like a true American.
I was forced to wait till Friday.
Only
due to scheduling complications.
That's unfortunate. It is Amazon's The Grand Tour.
AKA the reunited people from Top Gun.
Top Gear.
Top Gear.
I mean, I would be down for a Top Gun reunion, too. That sounds pretty good.
Maybe they should have a Top Gun reunion with the Top Gear reunion people.
Yeah, that'd be it. Tom Cruise has been on Top Gear in the past.
That's true.
I don't know what that chick that used to be that was in that movie is doing anymore.
I don't even remember her name.
I don't either. Someone will write into podcast@wewergamers.com with a correction on that.
I hope so.
No doubt. But yeah, so Amazon's The Grand Tour debuted this week at 00:01 GMT, which works out to like 4 o'clock Pacific in America on Thursday. So all their marketing said stream Friday, available Friday. And then we're like, what time Friday? And then they're like, it'll be a global launch on Friday. Okay. And then it's 00 midnight on Friday. So that's 4 p.m. on Thursday in America? Okay, sure, whatever. I guess. Okay. And lo it was. Amazon turned the button on when they said they would. And it was available, and it was glorious.
So, JJ and I have been fans of Top Gear for quite a bit of time. We have never talked about it on this show because Top Gear has not been, or has been dead, pretty much.
Yeah,
I think they canceled it.
Well, I don't know what they've done with it now. I know they had attempted to reboot it with new people, and it didn't go very well. I think it's between seasons now over in the UK. But these three gentlemen, Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, are the three presenters of this show, were let go from the BBC under a cloud of accusations that Jeremy Clarkson punched a producer in the face over who knows what. And there was a bunch of brouhaha about all that. He probably did actually punch someone in the face. That seems to not be under dispute.
Not unlikely, given the other drama with the Falkland Island thing.
Yeah, anyway, Jeremy Clarkson has a lot of controversy around him. He's very politically incorrect.
On purpose.
Yes, intentionally. And is, I don't know how to describe him. He's very flamboyant in a way that only he can be. But this show has... These three old guys have amazing chemistry together. It's just like watching three friends go on the most fantastic road trip that you can ever believe in the most unbelievably expensive cars you've ever seen and do stuff that you wish you could do.
Example, episode 1 of the Grand Tour. Portugal, racetracks, $1 million cars apiece.
Yep. They caught the episode The Holy Trinity, because this was a thing they had talked about before they even were fired from original Top Gear, of racing the McLaren P1, the hypercar they call it, against the Ferrari LaFerrari, another $1 million hypercar, and the Porsche 918, which is also another hypercar in this crazy category.
Hypercar, for some people that don't know, is a hybrid on steroids.
It doesn't even have to be a hybrid, but it's like they used to call them supercars, right?
Oh, they're definitely not supercars because they have electric motors and components, right. If not completely separate. Some of them are integrated, like the LaFerrari.
Right, and so it used to be, you'd buy a Lamborghini. Oh, that's a supercar. Well, these are better than supercars now. Like these are hypercars because not only do they have these electric motors, so they have hundreds and hundreds of horsepowers in electric motors. They also have these gigantic, V6 or V8 engines with 900 horsepower, 800 horsepower, four-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, these electric assist things, launch control, and there's some amazing-looking cars, I will say. If you had a choice, Andrew, which one would you pick?
Ooh.
That's the real question here.
That is the real question. Probably the Porsche.
The Porsche definitely being the most actually the fastest one, right? Spoilers.
Spoiler alert, the Porsche won.
It did win.
I actually base my...
Do you think it would be the most easiest to drive.
Yeah,
in real
I would
life.
think that it's the one that would be most enjoyable to take out and drive.
As we found out in the show, the Ferrari is not road legal, so you can't actually take it on real roads.
Right.
It sounds like that's because the KERS system that it uses, like the Formula One car, is not certified by anyone to use on a road. Because it's like a Formula One style kind of thing. It's not really legal to have in a road car, I guess. I don't know the exact status of that. But anyway, so if you bought that one, you couldn't actually take it on a road. You can only use it on tracks. So...
Yeah, not worth it. And
maybe not that cool.
Yeah, the McLaren seemed like it had absolutely no design for taking a corner.
It seemed like it was mostly about looking really good and going really fast and then trying to kill you if you messed up at all.
So I'm a lucky person that speaks enough French to understand what people are saying.
So I went and looked up what the driver was saying.
Which was basically the LaFerrari was terrible, the McLaren was trying to kill him, and that the Porsche was the most well-rounded but boring.
The translation I saw online was that the Ferrari and the Porsche were both pretty neutral, but the Ferrari is very difficult, or the Ferrari and the Porsche were like very neutral in their driving. He liked the Ferrari best, but he thought it was kind of a toss-up. And then the McLaren was very dangerous and hard to control.
Yeah, that was kind of what I got out of it.
He didn't say it wasn't fast or anything, that it was hard to control.
He just said it was hard to control. Or he said something along the lines, I think, of it was easy to make a mistake.
Yes, yeah, it was something like that.
Which was evident.
yeah, based on the results. So overall, Andrew, I just want to get your take really quick. How do you think this compared to the show back when we used to watch it?
I was texting with a friend, and I said that this felt like a talking to a friend that you hadn't talked to in a long time at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Where you kind of felt like awkward for most of it, but you definitely both laughed and remembered why you were friends.
Right.
There was definitely like the whole guest segment thing was just awkward.
Which I think they did on purpose because they didn't actually plan to have any guests.
Yeah, so they're I assume they're not going to have guests is what their point was.
I suspect next week they're going to have a guest also show up but be murdered.
Yeah.
And then they're going to eventually drop the guest segment.
I think that they'll grow back into it. They definitely feel not off rhythm with each other as much as off rhythm with the audience. And maybe that's because they were in the US for the first episode.
Or maybe it's because that was the first one they had shot and they didn't really know how it would go at the time. Or was it the first? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, no, so explain to me, they're going to do weekly episodes on an on-demand online service. Nobody does that.
So it is not available all at once. So this is a Amazon original content that Amazon is paying for on Amazon streaming service only, as far as I know. The only way to access it is via that, and they're releasing one episode a week, like a standard TV show program where they release one at a time, not the whole season at once.
Yeah, I don't know, given that, if I'm going to be able to wait to do a whole... Given the episodic nature of it and how weekly everything is, it's not like a whole season of a thing like Game of Thrones is. I don't know if I can wait to do a special episode, or I'm just going to want to pick your brain or hear about what your thoughts were about.
We'll just talk about it every week. Maybe.
About the race they had this week, Yeah.
And so, it's really, they've said they're moving this tent, their mobile studio, right, around the world. I know they've already filmed in Johannesburg. They've filmed in England somewhere. They've filmed in Germany. Apparently, they just filmed in Nashville. So they're coming back to the U.S. again this season. And so they are clearly going all over the place with this season. And they've already been renewed. I've told the contract is for 3 seasons. So... And I think there's a lot more to come. I'm very excited to see what they choose to do with it.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be real cool. I'm only taken aback by the driver they got to drive their cars. I'm just
He's
like...
the American guy?
Yeah, it seems like they went over the top to find like the most...
I think this is I wanted to ask you about this, actually. I'm glad you brought it up. It seems to me like a direct reaction to what the Stig used to be on old Top Gear. Do you want to tell people what the deal with the Stig was?
So, sorry for clearing my throat into the microphone. They used to have on the old show, and they trying to continue that on this show, a track where they would take new cars or cars they found interesting that may not be exactly new, but like in this episode, they took a BMW M2. So that's a car that you and I could go buy, not a LaFerrari.
Right.
And they take them and they put them through paces. One of them, so this episode was Clarkson, takes it, put it through its paces, talks about how it performs as a vehicle. It's kind of like a vehicle review, but in their own style. It's
almost like a video review of a car.
Yeah, a lot less technical and more experiential.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they take it out, and they used to have a track, and they would...
I mean, it seems like they have another track.
Yeah,
it's just this one.
I wonder if it's actually... I mean, I guess it has to be if they're going to do the same thing as they did before. But what they used to do was they had a set track that they went around, and they took it around, they told you how it performed, and then they had a professional race car driver take it around the track for timed laps. And it was the same professional race car driver every single time with every single car and every single episode, so that it was as even as it could possibly be. Obviously, in England, it rains a lot, so they would try and come up with some sort of marker for, hey, it was wet, you know?
Sure. It seems like the new track is also in England, by the way.
Yeah.
People have found it on Google Maps or whatever.
Exactly. So they are trying to continue this. The driver that they used to have was a mystery. So the gentleman that was driving the car, I think it was always a gentleman, was helmeted at all times, and they never told anyone who he was. A couple of them came out later and wrote books or whatever and said, I was one of the Stigs. I don't think they ever revealed any on the show. The guy's name was, who did it for most of the years, was named Ben Collins. Yeah, and they would run these cars in silence and anonymity. So instead, this time around, they got the loudest, most obnoxious American NASCAR, I assume ex-NASCAR or like not pro circuit. He is an ex-champion, apparently. He won some NASCAR race. I don't know. I don't know that he ever was a series champion. Yeah. His name is Mike Skinner. If people want to follow him on Twitter, he's out there. He was a NASCAR driver. He used to drive in Camping World Truck, which is a different racing series, apparently. And he was out there. He's a guy who has a personality and a life, and posts a lot on social media, and is a real person. So it seemed to me like they went purposefully in the exact opposite direction. A guy who has a lot of personality, a lot of face, a lot of, like, he will give his own commentary during the drive. Yeah. Instead of this mute guy who they have to commentate over. Yeah, so it's interesting that they went with that. I guess they'll probably continue to do this track. It's a weird track. Yeah, it's a very strange track. I forget, what would they call it, like the Ebola-drome or something? Yeah, the Ebola-drome, because it has the same shape as the Ebola virus. Yeah, very strange looking track. I don't know. We'll see. I assume they will continue it now that they've started it. So I hope so. It was always one of the more fun parts. The celebrity drivers doing it was obviously amazing, but given the dangerousness of how that thing looks, and if I can't imagine the astronomical amount of insurance. I mean, they blew their insurance wad on the first episode, having $4 million worth of car on the track, wheel to wheel. And also that scene in the desert where there's probably 20 or 30 cars driving all together in a formation with a helicopter shot and a bunch of stuff. Did you like that they were all driving red, white, and blue Mustangs? It was pretty good. It was kind of like the America to the rescue moment, you know? Like, hey, Amazon brought us back, so we'll give you a little tribute. Right. He didn't complain about his Mustang.
Rain is gone, is playing and everything. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they get into a fight with the audience about how the audience has no idea which Air Force is good.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for them to do more of this show. Cars and motoring and driving is something I actually enjoy in real life. So I hope that this succeeds for them, and that they get to make 1 million more of these episodes. I could just watch those 3 guys putz around in any cars, from beaten down jalopies to $1 million cars, any day of the week.
I'm going to be honest. I'm here for the beaten down jalopy episodes. Those are usually the best ones.
Yeah, they do have some great old episodes. For anyone who wants to go check out the old stuff, I'm pretty sure some of it is still on Netflix. If you go back and search for Top Gear on Netflix, there should be some older episodes from like seasons like 17, 18, 19 or something of that show, where there is some just amazing stuff, where there's like, they drive, here's 2,000 pounds, go buy some car, we're going to make you race to Italy in this like thing that's falling apart. Or like, here's a car, go drive it across the Sahara Desert.
Well, if you can't tell, we are super duper hype about this, so you'll probably hear about it again. Excited. We'll see how much.
Yeah, man. Well, I absolutely encourage everyone who has access to Amazon Prime to go watch that thing.
Well, while we were talking, the Monday Night Football game has ended, JJ, and Stephanie, of course, was sweating bullets there for a minute and then still won anyway.
Well, Andrew, it looks like that score was a lot closer than you said it was going to be.
Well, I was down 60 before the night game last night, in which I only had one player, so I needed 40 points today. Between 2 players. I ended up with 36.
So, pretty justifiable. She only beat you by 4 points.
I could have beaten 9 other people in the league.
Yeah, this is one of those it feels bad, man moments where you could have beaten almost every other person in the league.
I'm in 10th place. You guys can't give it to me?
Yeah. No, unfortunately not.
It just feels bad. I've lost.
I mean, let's look at the people who's playing. Look at that first and second place guys. Man, those are some low scores.
Oh my gosh. Just going
second
back
place person won.
Sean won with 69 points this week. I'm going back through my history of wins and losses. I've only broken 100 4 times this season, including this week, and I'm only 50% on that.
Sean played 2 players who got 0.
Yeah.
AJ Green, I mean, it's not his fault, but yeah.
It's rough, man. I don't know what to say.
Man.
Well, congrats to Stephanie. She's still not in second place.
That's really messed up. It's really messed up. First place gets blown out. Second place wins
with 69 points.
But then we'll only tie first because ties, LOL. So the rest of the league doesn't move. Everyone just sits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Katie goes to last place by 1 point.
Man.
1 point.
Actually, there's a good chance that 5th jumps me and I go down to 5th because I will have less points. You got a lot of points this week. I'm not going to do that math.
Man, this football season, I don't even know what to say.
I lost both my other leagues, though, for those who care, which no one should. But I got absolutely dominated in one of my other leagues where I had both AJ Green, who went down with a season-ending injury, and Darren Sproles. So, yeah, nice. I didn't win that one.
I got lucky and did not play Darren Sproles in my other league where I had him.
Smart. Very smart.
But I had a rough time this week because Todd Gurley played the late game, and so I had to drop players to pick up his backup just in case because he was all injured and whatnot. The Rams are still terrible despite Jared Goff.
I mean, did you think he was going to turn it around?
No, he in fact made all their receivers worse, which is part of the reason I lost this week.
Come on, dude.
Kenny Britt was averaging 10 points a game and then got 4.
Rookie quarterback, man. Despite what has happened with some of the rookie quarterbacks this season, the general rule is rookie quarterback,
Look,
LOL.
Only Dak Prescott has managed to hold it together. Carson Wentz has regressed.
But Carson Wentz has regressed back to the point of just being a normal quarterback, right? He's not amazing.
Well,
he's just like a guy.
And the rest of his team is really not helping him at all.
No, they're not. They're not giving him 1 ounce of help at all. But Dak Prescott looks like a superstar. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think so.
Rumors that Tony Romo might get traded to the Broncos.
I don't put any stock in those rumors at all.
I love the idea of that rumor. I want to see you cheer for Tony Romo.
I won't cheer for Tony Romo. I'll cheer for the rest of the Broncos, but
man,
you know why I won't be cheering for Tony Romo?
Because it's not going to happen.
4 games in, he'll be on injured reserve. And we'll be back to Trevor Siemian. Why waste the money? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Because Jerry Jones is going to have a fire sale now. He's found a new boy. No.
John Elway's all about value, and you don't get any value from a player that sits on injured reserve half his career.
But what if the value is Tony Romo accepts a big pay cut to get off a team where he's the backup?
There's no value in a player that doesn't play.
You get 6 games out of him. That's pretty good if you get him for cheap, right?
Yeah, 6 games where they make it to the 4th quarter and then he throws an interception in the end zone.
I mean, you could sub him out in the 4th quarter. Put that in the contract.
Oh, man. Football.
Well,
the Raiders won. I was kind of hoping they were going to lose because I knew I was going to lose to Stephanie anyway. And if they had lost, then they would have been gone into next week playing the Broncos tied for first in the league again.
Instead, they sit alone atop the lonely throne.
They do.
Of the AFC West.
Yeah.
A division which is surprisingly good.
It is surprisingly good. I do not understand how the Chargers are competing.
Are they?
I mean, they are enough.
I mean, they're not in last, I guess.
Yeah. They're bucking for a wild card spot.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see. They got to beat the Chiefs for that to happen.
Yeah.
The bye week, hopefully,
but
they can get someone back from injured reserve because their whole team's on it still.
Point being, they have to beat somebody in their own division for the wild card.
Which is the problem. Yeah, they got to beat the Chiefs, who are good. They got to beat the Broncos, who are better. They got to beat the Raiders, who are, I guess, better than the Broncos. So arguably, for sure. I mean, the standings say they are. So. Well, we will see.
We will see. People can get a hold of us, JJ, right? We can hear their thoughts about Tony Romo to the Broncos somehow.
Yeah, they can tell us about Tony Romo and the Broncos, or how much they loved the Grand Tour. You can send those emails to podcast@weweregamers.com, or you can send them to us on Twitter, which is @weweregamers. Or you can send us a hilarious meme photograph on Instagram, where we are also We Were Gamers. Or our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/weweregamers.
I think Facebook accepts memes too.
Yeah. Send us the memes in any way you can send a meme. I want to see hot Tony Romo memes. Are there Tony Romo memes?
Oh my God, yes.
I know Smokin' Jay Cutler memes, but he's out again, so we don't have to talk about him.
Oh, he's done again too?
Oh, you didn't know? He got a shoulder injury.
Oh.
And they think he might be done for the season, which leaves them with no quarterback.
And no wide receivers, because all theirs got busted for PEDs.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should build some hype. I think it's next week, JJ. We might have a guest on.
Oh, are we going to try and do that?
I think we scheduled it for next week. We're so prepared.
So professional.
Look, hype. Guest, probably next week.
Okay, we're going to do it. I'm very excited to talk with this guest about. Do we want to spoil what it will be?
Sure. Maybe people will listen, or maybe they won't listen.
We'll keep it a secret.
Right, but I have a lot of questions.
I know it will be almost an entire episode devoted to this guest because, basically, the whole episode will be us asking questions of a person who knows more about this topic than we do.
A lot more.
All
right. I'm going to go do some Overwatch placement matches, probably, unless you're getting on Heroes of the Storm with me.
I don't know. We'll see what time it is when we get done with this.
All right, let's get out of here.